Good evening, everybody, and good afternoon to those on the West Coast. Ohayou gozaimasu, Nihon, and konbanwa, America. Sometimes you guys will hear me speaking Japanese. I've been speaking over 25 years, so that's a little bit that's natural. So just ignore that. Or if you understand it or have questions, just let me know. But if you hear that, that's Japanese. I did study a few other language, which we'll probably talk about later. Today we have a topic that I really wanted to cover. We got a lot of questions after our last live chat, but we'll get to those and I'll talk about those in a minute. So welcome everyone. We'll give people a few minutes to get on, give a shout out, let me know you're there, what country, what city you're from. And if you guys have questions, you better get them on there right now. I think we already have one question from someone. Actually, seems like it was early this morning. It's already posted. So we're going to get to Lena Warren a little in a few minutes. So today, what I wanted to talk about, which was really what I wanted to get out there and let you guys know about, are for those U.S. citizens married to foreign nationals abroad. All too often, they make plans to return to the U.S., but they really forget or they get outdated or antiquated information about how to get back there, how to bring their spouse and rest of their family back to the U.S. Now, often, with children, it's not going to be a problem, but there may be some documentation issues we have to address. So we're going to talk about that as we go through. We'll hit those 3 points or 1 or 2 points, and we'll just go through the process to make sure everyone understands. I'll be sharing my screen to give you guys some information as we walk through. But first, let's start with our first question because Lena Warren was there. I'm going to put this up on the screen for everyone to see. Now, here in this situation, it appears that we have a U.S. citizen who is abroad. Actually, no, not a U.S. citizen, foreign national. She said her passport with the visa got damaged and she had to report it to the police. So it appears from what I see, and Lena, if you're out there, feel free to update, give me more facts, but it appears we have a foreign national, non-U.S. citizen with a passport with a U.S. visa in the passport, and that was damaged. So, yeah. I guess if it's damaged, you can report it to the police. I don't know what the police is really going to do if the visa stamp is damaged. I can see if you lose or lost your passport, you definitely want to report that to the police, and you're encouraged to, and then report that to the U.S. Embassy. So obviously, if you have a damaged visa stamp, you want to report that to the U.S. Embassy. Maybe it got manipulated. Sorry, not manipulated, mutilated or stuck in the washing machine and got washed a little too much. But if it's damaged, then yeah, you want to let them know, and then you're going to need to reapply for that visa stamp that you had before. And yes, you're going to have to pay for it again. Just like if a U.S. citizen like myself lost his or her passport, let's say it got stolen, and you needed to get another passport, you can apply for a temporary or short-term emergency passport at the U.S. Embassy to get back in the U.S. if you're a U.S. citizen. But once you get back to the U.S., you're going to have to apply for a U.S. passport all over again. Now, for foreign nationals whose visa stamps are damaged, stolen, we've had that a number of times when they're in a country and their passport along with their visa stamp gets stolen, what are you going to do? I mean, you got to apply again for that visa stamp. And right now, with the delays we see at the consulates, that's going to take a little time. So don't hesitate, reapply. So Lena, go ahead, make your complete your complete your DS-160, reapply. Hopefully it's just a B1, B2 visa, B1, B2 visitor's visa stamp, and you'll get that again, and you'll be able to visit the U.S. Or conduct business as you have in the past. Let me know if there's any other questions, Lena, regarding that, and thank you for that question. I love those questions. Wilson Suarez, buenos noches, Wilson, buenos noches. I don't speak un poco hablo español. So we don't have our Spanish speaker with me today. Lauren and several others are, of course, it's the weekend. They're enjoying the weekend. So they're unavailable. But if you have questions, put it in the chat. We'll get back to you. I'll also give you the information. You can, send a message to WhatsApp, call us on Monday, or just send an email. We'll get it to the right person in Espanol and get that back to you and take good care of you. So how's everyone's weekend going? Mine's is crazy. During the week, we're attorneys, we work really hard, but on the weekends, we're just like you. We have families. I guess today I worked a little in the yard, in the garden, and then also my son had a track meet that I had to take him to. And, that's how I spent part of my weekend. And I hope you guys are having a great weekend. We finally have some good weather up here in the northern part of the US. So we're enjoying the sunshine and everything that probably a lot of you guys out there, take for granted and enjoy year round. So tell me in the chat how your weekend is going. Tell me what immigration questions you got. Tienes preguntas de inmigración? Go ahead and write those in the chat and we'll get a response to that. Okay, guys? So what I wanted to start off with as we progress is the first thing is the whole green card process. I think a lot of people misunderstand if they're living abroad and they have a spouse that they marry. Let's say we have, for example, I'll use Japan. They go to Japan, they become a teacher, they find a spouse, and they now have a family, and maybe they want to return to the US for whatever reason, be close to family or raise kids there, or maybe there's a business opportunity that they want to take advantage of. So I'm going to go over the process. The first step that you're going to need to take is you're going to need to apply for an immigrant petition. So the US citizen is applying for the foreign national spouse. Now, the good thing is if you're a US citizen and you're petitioning for your spouse, there's always a green card waiting. There's no need to wait. If you are a green card holder living abroad and you marry a foreign national, there may be a slight wait. You have to make sure and see which country you're applying from or which country the foreign national is a national of, where they were born, to make sure to see whether there's a wait or not. Most cases there's not right now, but sometimes there can be. And in some countries, we'll look at that at the visa bulletin. There may be a wait or there may not be, but you want to add that keep that in your calculation. Don't think that, hey, I've got a job in the US, I'm going to move the family back and everyone back in 3 months and it's done. No, the USCIS, the Department of State, the National Visa Center, the US embassies, they do not move that quick. This is not Amazon. This is literally, I don't care what other immigration attorneys tell you, you're looking at 1 year to 2 years. You always find on Google, these exceptions, and people tell you, oh, I did it in 6 months. Unfortunately, they don't prove that. You don't see those individuals putting their receipt notices, the embassy notices, and the actual visa stamps and showing that everything was done in 6 months. You really, really have to not just, get caught into that bait and switch. A lot of people just want to hear, oh, I can do it faster than that attorney. That is so misleading. It really hurts me. And after you've already paid the money, you can't come back to an honest, really good, trustworthy attorney. You're stuck because you don't have another $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, whatever it costs you, in order to go with someone who is more reputable. So be pragmatic. The government does not move quickly. Plan in most countries 1 year to 2 years. Some, depending on the US embassy or consulate, it may take longer. So let me see. Let's get something up on the screen to kind of show you what we are dealing with. I'm going to show you right now. We're at the USCIS website. So the petition we were talking about initially, and let me get myself over there. Yep, I'm still there. Let's look at processing times. So we're going to go here. We're going to go to the I-130. Again, this is the initial petition the U.S. citizen is going to file for their spouse abroad. You can file it whether you're in the U.S. or out. Not a problem. And let's say it is a... You guys are probably quicker than I am. Hold on. Here we go. And so it depends on which service center you're going to be you file at. We're just going to use the Potomac Service Center for our sample here. Okay, so you put in your information to check the processing times, and voila, 12 months. That's the minimum, folks. So if any immigration attorneys out there selling it to you that they can get it done in 3 months, ask them, well, government says they're not going to do it for 12 months. How are you going to get it done in 6? So always look at the facts. We want to show people what's going on and what's reality. Okay. Now, there are cases where they put 12 months and it comes back quicker. There are exceptions. But, when you're dealing with your clients, when we deal with our clients, we don't just give them the exceptions just to get them in the door. Okay, we want to establish a very good relationship, a trust relationship, so that at the end of the process, you refer in more clients to us. Okay, so always keep that in mind. So the first step is the I-130. Let me get this out of the way so we can focus on what we're talking about. So this is the first step, the I-130. File that petition. It takes a long time, folks. There's no way to expedite it right now. You can't pay them money. There is premium processing for other visa categories, but not this. And we are looking for the USCIS to approve. Now, in the past, the USCIS did approve I-130s anywhere from 3 to 6 months, but that hasn't happened in a while. And if you do hear cases, you're really going to see that those are probably the exceptions. Okay. Let's see. Hold on just a moment. We do have another question that came up. I'll get to that in a minute. That cinnamon rolls every day. Thank you. Good to see you. We'll get that to you in a minute. But let me get to the next section. Now, after the I-130 is done, where do we go? We're going to go to the National Visa Center here. Okay. Everyone, what is the National Visa Center? And you know what? I was thinking the last time I did one of these talks, I was just spewing out all these things and not explaining, because not everyone knows what the NVC is. This may be your first time. And if it's your first time, I'm going to try to break it down and slow it down for you guys and just break it down. So if anything you don't understand and I'm just, spouting out immigration terminology, stop me and ask me, what is NVC? What is C1 visas or TPS or all these things, acronyms you're throwing out? Because this is for you guys, right? So that's what happens when you do this more than 20 years. You just spewed out, say all these words. So the National Visa Center is the next. So once it's done with the USCIS, I-130 is approved. It is then transferred from one of the agencies, the Department of Homeland Security. That's where the USCIS is housed. That bureau sends it over to the other department, which is the Department of State. That Department of State oversees and controls our U.S. embassies, consulates, and it also includes the National Visa Center, as you can see from the website. One of the things I want to be careful is when you put in National Visa Center, make sure you go to the right website. It's travel.state.gov. It's kind of odd. They think you would put Department of State, but maybe that's not available. But anyways, make sure you're on the right site. A lot of these sites look very similar. They're third parties, they're private entities just selling you the process. So if there's a fee or something like that, you're on the wrong website. Okay. Now, the National Visa Center is simply a processing unit within the Department of State that prepares everything before it goes abroad. Okay, it could be a non-immigrant visa such as an H-1B. All that information goes to the National Visa Center. Then it goes to the U.S. Embassy or consulate abroad that's designated. Same thing with the immigrant visas, as in this scenario. You pull all that together, and what information are we talking about? We're talking about birth certificates. In this case, for family base, you have to have an affidavit of support. You want to make sure that you meet all the requirements. You have to submit marriage certificates, birth certificates. If there's children, putting their information in there. All that information, you'll be completing the online form, DS-260. That's the application for an immigrant visa. You'll get all that together. You'll wait for it to get approved. They will let you know. The National Visa Center will let you know when it's approved. And then once it's approved, they'll ship it to the appropriate U.S. embassy or consulate abroad. You will receive notification. So and we have a few of those cases where it's just sitting there. We don't know where it is. It's not at the U.S. Embassy. The U.S. Embassy says, we ain't got it. And the National Visa Center says, we already sent it. So we have certain cases where we've got to find out where that file is and get it back on track to move forward. It's a government agency. Things get lost, things happen. You just really want to make sure that your case is moving forward. The best way to communicate with the National Visa Center is not by phone. Don't call. I mean, there is a phone number. If you get through, put it in the chat. Let me know how many times or how long it took you to get through. We always email. The nice benefit of having an attorney, there's a special email for attorneys to communicate with the National Visa Center, and that allows us to get a better response. And they're pretty good, actually. We'll get a quick response, day or two, and it works. It actually works. I love the communication with the National Visa Center. Also at the National Visa Center stage, you're going to pay any of the filing fees. All those filing fees are paid here in US dollars before they're shipped abroad. Okay, and that's the second stage. So going back, we've got the I-130, which we just talked about, which is handled by the USCIS under the Department of Homeland Security. Next, we have the National Visa Center, which is under the Department of State, and we are finally heading all the way back. Finally, the third stage is the immigrant visa application process, the interview at the U.S. Embassy. Now, the U.S. Embassy and consuls, as I mentioned, are also under the Department of State. So, it stays within the same bureaucracy. The problem is that all our U.S. embassies and consulates abroad essentially do what they want. There's, you can go to one country, and for example, Germany, the U.S. Embassy has their own policies. You can go then to the UK, or you can go to France, and they do something completely different. So the key is to check the website. Hold on just a moment. We're going to get there. We're going to use Japan for our example. But what you want to do is check the process. In our practice and what I've experienced, it seems like every year there's a change. I don't know why. They keep changing the process every year. So what worked for your friend last year may not be your case this year. So if you're at this website, most of them are pretty straightforward. They're going to give you a step-by-step process. It should be intuitive, but sometimes it's a little confusing. That's what, if you don't have the time to study, ask questions, email the U.S. Embassy, then get an attorney to help you out so that you can do other things like on the weekend, such as take your kids to their soccer game or baseball game, or, go see watch the NBA playoffs or something, instead of spending hours and hours trying to figure out what the government wants you to do and how to get your case forward and get all stressed out. We've had numerous calls. We have numerous calls every week where clients are just stressed out dealing with the government. And, it can be stressful. That's why you pay someone to do it. That's the benefit they're going to give. But at this process, they're going to, walk you through the process, show you that make sure you have all the documents. Now, at this stage, your foreign national spouse is going to do a background check to make sure they don't have any criminal background. And second, they're going to do that infamous medical exam. Now, don't forget about the medical exams. Even though a lot of us think that the pandemic is over, not our federal government when it comes to getting your green card or immigrant visa. You got to make sure you get vaccinated. Or if you're not, you got to have an exception, which is going to delay the process. So make sure everyone is vaccinated for the COVID-19 virus, or whatever is available in your country. So as all these countries open up and move forward, it's going to be a headache, but that's the process. So that's what I really wanted to cover. If anyone has any questions about that, again, the whole process is going to take anywhere from a year to 2 years, as we were showing you the processing times. Another thing you want to look at is, and we'll look at, is here goes, the visa bulletin. Now, after our last one, there was an inquiry from one of our prior clients where we got their green card on an employment-based green card. They had a question about the visa bulletin. Now, I'll talk about the visa bulletin in our next chat next week. I'll let you know, look for that notification, but it'll be next week, early next week. We'll spend some time on the visa bulletin. But one of the nice things about the visa bulletin, which is also handled by the Department of State, make sure you're on the right website, folks. Don't go to a third party where they just lead you on and lead you off the right path and go somewhere else. But underneath here, there's processing times, or not processing times, but there's, for certain individuals, they tell you how long you have to wait. And next week, we'll go in more detail about what C means, what these dates mean, and how to read this, and then also how to go and utilize the final action dates for the USCIS if you're in the United States, okay? So those are even more dates. So it's really a two-step process that you have to go through to make sure that your case is on the right path or moving, or whether you can get your immigrant visa or whether you have to wait. So let's go back and pull this up. Let's see. So we do have a question from Cinnamon Rolls Every Day. Hello. It says, good evening, Anthony. So can a U.S. citizen without a passport invite someone to visit here in the U.S.? So just to rephrase, to make sure I understand the question, we have a U.S. citizen who doesn't have a passport, and they want to invite someone to come and visit. So the answer to this question is simply yes, but really, how does that happen? Or why do you not need one? The U.S. passport is only used for U.S. citizens to go abroad. It has nothing, it doesn't give any advantage to the person coming to the United States. So in our example, we were talking about immigrant visas. Now, let's say we had a U.S. citizen who, and I was just looking out the window. I'm sorry, I was distracted tonight. There's supposed to be a red blood moon this evening, and I don't know what time that happens or if it already happened, but our moon here in the Midwest is still white. Anyway, so those out there taking photography, that's what I just took a glimpse at. Hopefully your vision or your view of the moon is a lot better than ours here. But for U.S. citizens, having a passport doesn't really matter if someone's coming to visit you. So take for example, as I was mentioning, let's say you're a U.S. citizen in the U.S. and your spouse is abroad, and you want to petition for them, the I-130, for them to get their immigrant visa. You as a U.S. citizen, you don't have to have a valid U.S. passport, okay? Not required. You do have to have government ID, such as a driver's license or something else, or maybe a military license, but or military identification. But other than that, you do not have to have a U.S. passport. Now, let's say you want to invite a friend over from, let's just use Panama for example. Let's say they're coming from Panama to come to talk about a business deal, or maybe to just travel or get to meet them. So preparing that invitation letter, no, you do not have to have a passport. What may be helpful is some sort of alternative identification. Maybe the letter should be notarized, for example. Type out the letter, get it notarized, send it to the bank. That adds to the authenticity of that letter. It's not made up or fraudulently made. Additionally, what you can do is use your driver's license or some other government issued ID. Just scan a copy of that. Now, remember, when that person applies for the US visa or when they enter the US, so at this, what we're talking about is the Department of State or the CBP, which is under DHS, Department of Homeland Security, not Department of Health. Um, but they have access to everything. So if the person, for example, cinnamon rolls every day, they give the officer your name, they can pull up all your information, your bank records, where you live, how long you worked, a lot of information, all in the name of national security, folks. They have access to everything, and they'll just call you up and confirm if there's a need to do so. So having a driver's license kind of makes that job for the officer a lot easier. It adds a lot of legitimacy to that person's, for example, a B1, B2 visitor's visa application at the consulate. That would be very helpful, so absolutely. A passport is not needed to invite someone to the US. Hopefully that helps. If anyone has any other experiences with inviting people, and I think what Cinnamon Rolls Every Day was speaking about is often what helps is, if you have friends or if you have a business arrangement, let's say, you need to do a business deal and you need someone to come in from India in order to be present, to look at a facility, to close the deal, then you can write an invitation letter, provide an itinerary to show the officer, hey, this is what I'm going to be doing. Everything is legitimate. Contact this person and confirm. And, let that company, let the person who wrote the letter know that, so that puts them on notice. And we've had the CBP at the port of entry call multiple times to verify. It is very, very common, and you should expect it. All right. All right, guys. We're coming up on our half hour. So any other last minute questions out there that I can answer or help you guys with as you guys enjoy your weekend? A question right now. Unfortunately, our phone lines are not open right now. We do all need a break here at Ray Law International, so I give my staff the weekend off. So unfortunately, no, but by all means, you can email us and you will get a response, or a call if you want to leave your phone number in your email. Don't leave it on the chat. Go ahead and email us. Vladimir or myself or someone else on the team will reach out to you, set up a consultation if that is necessary, or if it's just a simple question, just send us in an email, okay? All right, guys. Well, that's all I have for today, guys. You guys continue to enjoy your weekend. I'm going to enjoy mine, and we will see you in the next next chat, okay? In the next real immigration chat. You guys take care.